were talking
Yeah,
about?
yes, sir. The one that
He's talking about the Federal Reserve
Ben
Board
Bernanke.
founded by Woodrow Wilson in 1913.
Yeah, yes, sir.
A bunch of crooked bankers.
Yeah. Well, we need to, we got to take care of the, one of the first things I would do is, abolish the Dodd-Frank bill and take care, I mean, we got to work on that area, but, you know, I'm here to help any way we can in that area.
The Federal Reserve is a reason we're in the situation we're in right now, because what they've done is manipulate interest rates, and the interest rates are not free market. So what they've done is held the interest rate down abnormally low, and they've made it appear that it's really best to go into debt. I mean, you write off your taxes. And so what happens is, you know, what the Federal Reserve is politically motivated. I mean, they make every decision based on election cycles. That's a shame. Because what they do is, I mean, even in Leviticus, God said, you know, you work 6 years, you take the 7th year off. Well, you know, and I was told when I went into business, that if you can work, you know, if you can have a good economy for 6 years, and then maybe have 1 year down, everything will be broke. Let me tell you what happened in this country. And it was in the Clinton years. Actually, it started in the Carter years. Very housing act. And the residential industry, actually rice industry, had a 14-year run, unprecedented in this nation. Like I said, usually you have 6 years and then you have a down year. President Clinton said in 1998, he said, we'll never have another recession. We got this figured out. And so what they did is they decided they want to take home ownership from 60% of the people to 70% of the people. You know how much money that is?
It's a lot.
$220 trillion. It's bigger than Germany's economy. And they almost got there. They spent $180 trillion, and they did it by manipulating the interest rates and doing mortgage-backed securities through Wall Street. It was wrong. People ought to go to jail. Because what they did, there is no appetite in this country right now for home ownership. It is considered the risk, you know, it's the American dream, for crying out loud. You know, you'd own your own home, you pay for it, it'd always be worth more. Well, they destroyed it. And I'll tell you this, you know, the home building industry was the engine of this economy. You know, our business always followed the home building business about a year. And I'm sorry, I'm a business guy, so I'm boring you with all these statistics. But the bottom line is this. We need to get back to free market. Let the interest rate be what the interest rate needs to be. That's the reason the banks got in trouble. And what the Federal Reserve did is they changed the rules on the banks. They shut down a bank right here in Bullitt County. One of your finest institutions. You know, the bank had a few problem loans. And they said, all right, so you don't have enough capital. You're closing your doors. Y'all, that is wrong, and I plan to do something about it.
The Federal Reserve has reached a point where it's like a lot of other, what you might call government agencies, quasi-government agencies. You talk about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, where might have been good in theory at the beginning, but as things change, we need to make changes. I like the idea of auditing the Federal Reserve. I've heard that proposed. I think that is certainly a step in the right direction to do that. And I absolutely believe that the free market system is what works best in this country. And when we're out there manipulating what's going on in the financial world, I mean, we look at what we say about China. and what they're doing to their currency. We gotta be careful, for we end up being guilty of the same thing. So it's certainly, it's one of those entities that we need to take a long look at, and then make some decisions about how it needs to be structured going forward, because it certainly is very political in nature at this point, and we see what's going on in our economy, and we haven't been going in the right direction.
Most people don't even understand what the Federal Reserve does. And basically, the Federal Reserve, Mr. Bernanke, releases money into the economy and attempts to control interest rates and the flow of money by releasing them. What's coming down the road, and we all know it, the fact that the rates that they've kept interest rates low in hopes of spurring the economy and spurring economic development and spurring home building and getting home prices back up. What we know is coming is inflation. It's coming. Now, is it as simple as saying we're going to abolish the Federal Reserve? It is absolutely, positively not that simple. And there's not a person in this room that hasn't made that didn't make a substantial amount of wealth over the past 15 years because of what the Federal Reserve did. Now, am I a big believer in a free market capitalistic? Absolutely. Absolutely. Should I, but there is no industry that is not more nationalized than the banking industry. There's not a loan made right now that is not somehow VA, FHA, government-backed, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Does not exist. There is no free market banking industry right now. The fact that when you put money in your bank, that it's insured by a governmental agency, tells you that our banking system is nationalized. And we just have to admit that. Now, I don't like it. I think it's wrong. But it is what it is. Who asked the question?
I did, sir.
The Federal Reserve. It is political. Ironically, our chairman lived in Augusta, Georgia for a while. And I think went to Richmond Academy, did he not? Mr. Bernanke. Mr. Bernanke went to Richmond Academy, one of the oldest high schools in the state. All right, so the answer to the question is, do we need a return to a capitalistic banking system? We do. But that is one unbelievably complicated problem. It took us years to get here. And for anybody to stand up and say, in one fell swoop of the pen, that the Federal Reserve is going to go away, that is absolutely wishful thinking, as much as I would like for that to happen.
You stay there.
Yes, sir.
One of the key issues right now for the political network, the liberal network, to push forward this post-American socialist type of agenda is limit information and provide misinformation. One example of that, as a VMI grad who very much appreciated some of those Comcast coming overhead years ago, there's many more veterans committing suicide and having mental problems today than they're willing to announce and disclose, as one example. How do you intend, and the rest of you, to keep us informed so that we can help people in our community and also help you help us?
Transparency is the key to democracy, without a doubt. If it's not transparent, when they go into closed-door meetings, when they go into special meetings, all of that is wrong. Free speech, critical to our country. For as much grief as they can give people, it is a central bedrock to what the Founding Fathers said. And look where they put it in the Constitution. And I gotta believe, I do believe, those guys were a whole lot smarter than me. Those Founding Fathers, what they were able to imagine and think, and then articulate, and then memorialize is absolutely incredible. Of course, we call it the Constitution. So, transparency in government, I don't even see why that's the exception. I mean, that should just be the rule. I would like to go back to one thing with VMI. 22% of Congress has served in the military. That is not a prerequisite, but it is something that shows something wrong about this country. One person in the Obama administration has served, has put their life on the line. Any guess as to who that guy would be? The VA. Panetta? You're right. That's two now. Okay. What did he do though?
Actually, I don't know, but I think.
He was in the military. That's two. Okay. 3 on the Supreme Court. Really only one served when you go back and check. Justice Stevens is lucky to be alive. And he was a legitimate World War II guy. The other 2 were in the Guard for a year. But the suicide rate among vets is a lot higher than they'll put out. The VA is a monstrosity. Do I think the VA is doing as well as they can? They are. Is it political? It is. Is it an administrative nightmare? It is. Is it going to get any better? It should. Can I do anything about it? I think so.